Entrepreneur Center, and day 2 of Dallas Startup Week. Woo! Everybody clap for that. We're really, really excited. We have a special program for you today. And just so you know, Startup Week at the Deck is sponsored by TriNet, so we're super excited about that. For more information, you can always go to the website, Dallas Startup Week, and then also download the app, AllCal, and you can organize, set up your schedule, check out all the events that are happening throughout Dallas and here at the Deck. I'm Lauren Finnegan, one of your city coordinators, along with Christy and Edna. So if you have any questions, yeah, you can find us in the gray shirts. But in a little background information on 1 Million Cups, it's a educational program produced by the Kauffman Foundation to educate, connect, and engage local entrepreneurs while helping build startups on a grassroots level. We'll have presenters today, 2 presenters, and they'll have 6 minutes each, and then 20-minute interactive Q&A. And if you have a question, please raise your hand really high, and Christy will take the mic and come find you, because we do film for our YouTube channel. And we cannot do this without our wonderful vendors and sponsors, so a big thank you to Crew 2 for providing the treats every week. Yes, and then Shade Tree Coffee Roasters for keeping us caffeinated. And then a big thank you to one of our presenters today, MotoKofe, who has coffee downstairs outside, so please get that after the program today, and he's also selling from Oak Cliff Coffee. And then a really, really big thank you to our sponsor, RevTech. So big thank you, guys, please clap. And we'd like to invite Jonathan to come up and speak, but before we get started. Sorry, Jonathan from RevTech. Yes, we have some Jonathans today. So stand up and give a round of applause.
A lot of familiar faces in the room.
Here at the Deck, we have a tradition where you stand up and do a standing ovation when someone gets on stage. So please, everyone, stand up. Give Jonathan a round of applause.
All right, well, big thanks to the Deck and 1 Million Cups for giving us this opportunity. I'm Jonathan Fine from RevTech. I'm our Director of Business Development. We at RevTech are a venture fund and a seed accelerator. We focus on product and tech innovation for the restaurant and retail industries. If you or somebody you know has a product that will innovate in the retail or restaurant industry, I want to meet you. We are currently accepting applicants. Our cutoff date is the end of May 1st. So if you are interested in applying to the program, I highly recommend that you go to our website, RevTechAccelerator.com, and apply. It's really a straightforward application. It doesn't take too long to fill out. Tomorrow, we are having a happy hour that is open to the Dallas entrepreneurial community. Everyone here is invited. It's going to be at the Social House in Uptown from 5:30 to 7:30. Again, that's tomorrow. Come get a drink or 2 on RevTech, and it's great networking to just foster the Dallas ecosystem of innovation. And thanks, y'all.
All right, now we're going to get started with our first presenter, Jonathan from MotoKofe. So everyone stand up one more time, big round of applause.
Thank you. We got our aerobic workout in this morning. It's great to be here. My name is Jonathan Stevens, and I live right across the river in Oak Cliff. And I'm here with MotoKofe. And if you came through the back doors at the front door, you haven't seen it yet, but please come on downstairs and check us out afterwards. But about a year and a half ago, I had a conversation with a friend of mine on my front porch, drinking a beer around 10 o'clock at night, and we started talking about retail, specifically in the coffee industry. We kind of challenged ourselves to think about what the smallest possible coffee shop would look like. And so, as we thought about street vending in general, there's some conclusions that we had. One of them is that there's a lot of money to be made on the sidewalks across America. Dallas isn't huge in terms of street vending. In other cities like New York, they put up spots for auction every year, and they regularly draw several spots in New York City draw over 200,000, some close to $300,000. And that's just to pay the city to be allowed to spend money and to sell goods there. So what street vending does is it gives you access to high density areas, and you're able to do that with low overhead. So if you're selling something, and as you know, in the restaurant business, you can't go very far unless you have a really good product, but you also have to be in the right spot. If you're selling something that is delicious, but you're not in the right area, you won't make it. More than that, it takes a lot of money to open a business, to open a restaurant. You have to have a lease, and you have to have employees, you have to have goods stocked, you have to have all those kinds of things. And street vending works around that pretty nicely. But when it does that, oftentimes it sacrifices ambiance. You can't get a good feel for a place if you're on the sidewalk. You also lose some identity. If you saw on that last slide what a normal street vending setup looks like, you've got something that's stainless steel, covered in stickers, and it looks like every other street vending tool out there. And you also lose beauty. And when you're working in the food industry, those things are really, really important. And so our challenge was to think about making utilitarian carts, something that would work really, really well, but would also advertise the craftsmanship of the food preparation. And if you are a child of the 80s, you would recognize this picture right here. Indiana Jones. This was in the back of my brain, I think, because it led us to this idea. We basically said, how can we have high mobility, getting in and out of a spot easily, as well as designing something that would draw the eye, that would attract an audience, that would help drive sales, but be really, really useful. We started with coffee because my business partner is in the coffee industry, and we're familiar with it, but also coffee is a lucrative entrance into small business ownership. It's something that you can make a lot of and make money on. So with the coffee industry, we've been able to run on a sidewalk. I started out in Pearl Street Station. Some of you I've met from there, actually. And we've been there about 3 months. And after 3 months, we recognized that while we were making money, there's more money to be made elsewhere. And so what I'm trying to do is, in the course of this project, is to figure out kind of the principles that apply to street vending and make it really successful. So a place like Pearl Street Station has a lot of traffic, but not a lot of people who are interested in stopping to buy something, even something as addictive and good as coffee. So in the process of that, I've decided to move around the city over the next several weeks and try out different locations to try to build up some kind of a plan, an approach that would lead to successful street vending, what that looks like. In the meantime, I've also expanded the business to do office catering. So being mobile, providing coffee, it's a really easy jump to provide catering for offices. If any of you work in an office and need coffee, you can talk to me. I also do parties and weddings, and I have a kind of a new theme here with using it as a promotional tool. So motorcycle dealerships have talked to me, for instance, about building these units to put inside their motorcycle dealership. Different parties that are themed around motorcycles or that kind of thing. So, in the background here, though, is this phrase. I was in Florence, Italy, and my host, after she set us down at her table, said this phrase, which I don't know Italian, so I'm not going to say it to you in Italian, but it means the eye must also have its part. And it's basically this idea that as you're sitting down to a beautiful meal, you're not just going to ingest it into your belly, there's also a part of it that should be ingested with your eyes. And so when you make anything that we're going to eat, there should be a part of it that appeals to our sense of beauty. And so using this theme, we've redefined MotoKofe to make street vending useful as well as beautiful. All right, so that's what we're pretty much all about. And there's a couple of challenges that we've identified along the way. One is a negative perception of street food. Here in Dallas, I think that's especially strong. People don't think that it's clean. People think that it can't be good. People have a lot of negative perception about that because we're not used to it. We also have pedestrian unfriendly regions. If you think about this city, there's probably only 4 or 5 places you can think off the top of your head that you've seen regular pedestrian traffic. In a lot of cities it's not like that, but here in Dallas, that's definitely the case. More than that is weather. As you see outside, it's a little rainy. That affects business in some significant ways. And then finally, it lacks the comfort of a traditional coffee shop. And so I don't offer Wi-Fi, I don't have nice, cozy couches. But regardless, we're trying to figure out those challenges and figure out our business model around it. And I've identified some needs, and these are some things that perhaps some of you can help with. And one is exposure. We're new, we've been around for about 4 months now, and although the coffee world is pretty tight-knit in Dallas, unless you've actually driven by me or walked by me, you probably don't know I exist yet. Secondly, if you have needs for coffee, if you have a wedding coming up, if you've got a party coming up, or if you need coffee at your business for a long board meeting, etc., you can definitely help me out by throwing some business to me. And then locations. As I mentioned, I'm on the move. I'm moving around Dallas to figure out what good locations look like. And I'm kind of looking for a mix of pedestrian traffic from commuters as well as tourists, and including people who live in residential areas nearby. So I'm actually talking to people in that building over there at the Landmark Center, and I may be ending up there in the next week or so. So if that's the case, if you're following me on Instagram or Twitter, you can find me there. And then so we're looking at franchises. We've had some conversations with people in different cities who found us online or who have seen me here in Dallas and want to expand us. And so we're looking at a couple cities like New Orleans and Los Angeles, maybe soon getting into somewhere like New York City. And that'd be huge for us too. And then finally is this idea of growth into other mobile markets. So we've got things, I'm talking to some people who want to do basically anything you can imagine that a food truck would offer on the sidecar of a motorcycle. And so we're working with our builders on figuring out how to make those things happen. And that's all I got. Thanks.
Round of applause. Okay, we're going to open up the floor for questions. Please raise your hand up high so that I can bring you the microphone.
A question about your hiring strategy or who currently staffs your MotoKofe sidecars.
Did you have a bad experience outside?
No, it's a wonderful experience. How do you hire? How many people do you have working? But also, are you thinking from a marketing standpoint about hiring like guest baristas, people from other coffee shops that almost have a following?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my business partner actually owns Davis Street Espresso and Oak Cliff Coffee Roasters, if you're familiar with either of those. So I work pretty closely with him. So for staffing right now, for smaller crowds of 100 people over 2 or 3 hours, we can handle that single-handedly. For bigger crowds or events, I usually draw on his resources with baristas that staff at his location. One of the things that we're looking into though is if you do, like there's Questables coming up in a few weeks here in Dallas. So an event like that where it's this kind of city movement to show off things like coffee and pastries, that kind of stuff, we can have a little bit more synergy, I think, in those kind of events.
So how do you manage the insane licensing coming out of the city of Dallas? Not only the city of Dallas, but you've got all the suburbs that have all of their own licensing regulations. If you don't fit within a hot food truck, how are you managing that?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges in this. Almost every city has a different design or mandate in terms of the health department. And so for that, we tried to build from the beginning. We looked at several of the major cities around us, and we looked at some cities like New York, and looked at what they had in common in terms of the build-outs. And we tried to build ours so it would be adaptable easily to any of those different designs. That being said, there's still, those mandates change pretty frequently. And so for any client in a different city, the first thing we would have to do is research, number one, to see if it's possible, and then secondly, to actually pursue building it in whatever specifications they require. So for instance, some people might require a 3-basin hand washing sink. Dallas requires 1 for hand washing. So we can have 2 sinks, and we're fine here in Dallas, but in other places we might have to have 4 sinks. Also, Dallas changed. They used to require 4 sinks about 2 years ago when we first started out. So we bought a 4-basin sink, and then 6 months later it changed.
So you're considering yourself more of a manufacturer than a coffee shop?
Exactly.
Over here.
How do you balance this with all food trucks between consistency and mobility? And I'm thinking of, when I go to a conference in Uptown New York and I stay at the Hilton, I know Halal Brothers is going to be there, and I make a trip. So how do you make that decision between those two options?
Yeah, you're right. Especially with coffee because it's addictive, right? So we need it every morning. And if you're starting your day and planning to get your coffee from me, and I'm not there, it's going to make you change your habit. And our business is based on habit. So for us, that's a really important thing. That means that when we're going, even if it's a little rainy, even if it's really windy, even if it's really, really cold, like 28 degrees, we're going to still be out there. We got to be at the same spot every single day. Right now, because of where I'm in the business, if I have an event, I will drop everything and go to the event because it pays better. But it's hard to build both at the same time.
Raise your hand high.
Do you have intentions of franchising?
Yeah, definitely. That's the future of the business for us would be to start more carts up both in Dallas as well in other cities. And that's where I think the excitement comes because something like this is unique and it doesn't exist yet. This is actually the first one like it in the world. So I built it out in Garland with a metal worker and it's never been done before. There's a guy in Australia that has something similar, but this is the first one like it.
Can you address the other companies that are already named Espresso on Wheels, Coffee on Wheels, Three-Wheel Coffee? I've been looking them up and they're there. You're going to have enormous trademark problems.
Yeah, this is not patentable necessarily because you can change a little thing and it can change it pretty drastically, and so we can copy it pretty easily. So what our business model is based on is just building the best product consistently. We also have the opportunity to work to provide everything turnkey from getting the coffee sourced to barista training to motorcycle training to the actual cart. So we have a good package that we can offer people. But in terms of being copied, it's going to be very hard to prevent that from happening, and I expect that will happen. But our goal will be to do the best, offer the best product out there.
What does it cost you to produce it, and what are you selling it for?
Yes, I am working on that right now. We built this was finished in October. And so the cost and for the design and the build out and the motorcycle and the components in that are pretty expensive. The espresso machine itself is about $6,000. So we're trying to be able to offer this in the $30,000 to $40,000 range for the complete package. The espresso would be more expensive than the other thing. We started with the hardest. If we were going to do a hot dog stand on the side of a motorcycle, for instance, it'd be significantly cheaper. But we could use the same design and produce it.
Did you say 30 to 40 grand your cost, or?
No, sales. So.
Yeah, it's a question about branding. So are you going to be branding it as, like, is that the cost? I mean, is that the name of the equipment and the brand of the equipment, or is it going to be the brand of the business? Or are people going to have to create their own brands around,
Our plan currently is to have this as the brand of the equipment. And one of the things that we're talking about is the whole flow from coffee source to training and what that branding would be, whether that's the same. But right now, this is what would be on every motorcycle cafe out there.
What kind of bike is it? And also, have you envisioned other vehicles pulling it, mopeds, things like that?
Yeah, I love vehicles. That's part of the reason that I started this. This is actually a 2014 model Russian bike. It's called a Ural. And it's a direct copy of the German World War II motorcycle. And they've been making the same bike for 60 years in Russia, virtually unchanged. And so because of that, it has an easy classic style. It looks old even when it's not. It has some modern components like fuel injection and disc brakes. So it's also set up from the suspension standpoint to tow a big sidecar. And that's why we picked it first. Smaller sidecar, whether it's a cafe or whether it's like a pour over for coffee or a hot dog stand, for instance, could be towed with something that's a little bit smaller than that, like even a scooter.
So in terms of logistics, you're based out of Oak Cliff. how tied are you to having to be near that location to keep the car running through the day? Like, do you have a range that you can't go farther beyond and have to go back during the day repeatedly?
Right. Well, that's something specific to the coffee industry too. Most of your sales are between 6 a.m. and noon. And so what that means is a shorter window of operation. And since we don't have people sitting around doing homework or work, office work in a coffee shop, they're mostly done drinking coffee by noon, and then you have a little bit of an after lunch rush too. So this cart is designed to function for about 5 hours and serve about 200 drinks.
And then you only have to go
Back to Oak Cliff.
So like
And-
if you're around the McKinney, you would have to go back and forth.
Right. Right, exactly.
So the answer might be on your slide that you gave on your needs, but if you could just say maybe the top one or two, how could the community support you?
Yeah, thanks. I could use your support. You can definitely follow me on Instagram or Twitter. You could like me on Facebook if you're on that. And then the second thing is buy coffee from me. I will be setting up close to the West End area. I like the West End for a couple of reasons, so I hope to be setting up in this neighborhood. And if you can stop and buy a cup of coffee from me once a week or whatever regularly, that would definitely help business. And if you have, if at your office or your place of work you have the need for coffee, I can bring push pots like you see over there with the little red symbol on it, the MK. I set up coffee for a couple of offices near around that town right now.
How do we know where you're at on a particular day?
That will be through Instagram or Twitter, yeah. And so right now I'm moving around. Once I establish my next place, I'll be there, for about 6 months. And in other words, it takes about 3 to 4 months to build up business to evaluate. No, we use Square.
Similar to the question asked about bringing in guest baristas, have you thought about what are some other grabs or things like shticks that you could do is unique that maybe I go to you because I think it's fun, but then what will bring me back that would be unique?
Yeah, I think with coffee, because you have a lot of choices for it, you have to really have a good product. And a woman asked me, she said I said, would you like a cup of coffee? And she said, well, can you beat this? And she held this big thing of 7-Eleven coffee. She's like, I paid $1.15 for this. Can you beat that price? And I said, no. But I'm not interested in beating that price either because I'm offering a different product. So you have to have some identity with what your product is. I think that's the most important thing.
Any other questions? Raise your hand. Hi. On a side note, Hello is coming to Dallas, the food truck you were talking about. There's an article on Dallas Eater. You want to read that? Final questions? Going once, going twice. All right, round of applause for Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. And just a quick reminder that we're very active on social media, and we've provided some of our Twitter handles and hashtags here, so please join the conversation and also see awesome pics of the motorcycle. And also see it downstairs in real life. That would be good too. Okay, so next we have our next presenter, Nick from MakeItEasyAutos. So please stand up and give another round of applause. Yes.
Thank you very much. My first standing ovation feels real good. Thank you. As Lauren told you, my name was Nick Titka. I'm CEO of MakeItEasyAutos. Tommy Hilfiger once said that the road to success is not easy to navigate, but through hard work, drive, and passion, it is possible to achieve the American dream. In order for me to show you Make It Easy Auto road to success, I first want to show you our mission. Make It Easy Auto's mission is to be the world's easiest website for buying and selling vehicles. We built our platform on one simple principle. To bring real value to the auto shopper, we must first bring real value to the auto dealer. So, let's go back down the hill and see how we're going to achieve this mission. On average, consumers visit 8.8 auto websites before they step foot on a dealership. The main reason for this is inventory. Consumers want to make sure that the vehicle they are going to test drive is the perfect one for them at the lowest price. May 9th, 1950, Sam Walton opened Walton's Five and Dime in Bentonville, Arkansas. Sam believed that if he stocked his shelves with a wide variety of product or inventory, consumers would shop at his store over bigger stores like Sears and JCPenney's. Yet, in a world where inventory is king, the same success that Sam built in Walmart has not been duplicated in the auto industry. There are over 18,000 new car dealers and 127,000 used car dealers in the U.S. On average, new car dealers have about 500 vehicles and used car dealers have about 26 vehicles. Obviously, single dealerships do not have the inventory that is needed to satisfy today's auto shopper. The business model of lead generating third-party auto websites keeps them from getting the inventory that is needed to dominate the market as well. With this business model, dealers have to pay in advance for leads. The return on investment that dealers get when partnering with sites like these makes it almost impossible for most dealers to join. Now, like MakeItEasyAutos, TrueCar.com is a performance-based auto website. This means we do not get paid until we sell a vehicle for a dealer. But, unlike MakeItEasyAutos, TrueCar.com's advertising campaign creates unnecessary competition with the very dealers they are serving, and because of this, dealers all across the country are refusing to partner with TrueCar. The lack of a dominant auto website in today's auto market has created a space for MakeItEasyAutos to thrive. Third-party auto websites do not have to be competition with auto dealers. Like I said earlier, we built our platform on one simple principle: to bring real value to the auto shopper, which is inventory and tons of it. We must first bring real value to the auto dealer. We built our MakeItEasyAutos business plan and development infrastructure. It gives us the ability to partner with every auto dealer, no matter their size or the capacity to market themselves online. In order for us to stand on our own, we must provide value to the dealer, which when I meet with dealers, I explain a lot about. We must provide value to the auto shopper. I'm going to show you the website real quick here in a minute to show you the value we bring to the auto shopper. And we must bring value to our future investors. Take a quick look. We are ready to expand. I'll show you where we started and how many dealers we have in a minute. The ability to sign up every auto dealer gives us a marketing edge over our competition and a great reason for customers to never leave the website. We also have the ability for customers to search for vehicles based on their monthly budget, which I'll show you. That's another marketing edge we have. We're ready to scale our business across the country, and I have full business plans available if you're interested. I've been here the last 2 weeks meeting with dealers in Dallas, and this is our next big area of growth. So that's how we're going to achieve our mission to be the world's easiest website for buying and selling vehicles. I want to show you the website real quick to show you kind of how we do our marketing edge for the consumer. When you come to the website, you'll notice that you have the ability to search based on your monthly budget. So you tell us what you want to pay, and we take out all the vehicles that don't fit within your budget, making it real easy, if you want to hit search, for you to look to find the vehicle that fits you perfectly. We are a big female demographic. This is an example of sort of the vehicles that fall within a $500 range in where we come from. So at this point, you can search for different vehicles that all fit in your budget. If you go back up to the top real quick, you can also narrow your search if you're looking for a car, a truck, SUV, something like that. And then you can change the parameters, what she was just clicking on, for how we figured that monthly budget, which I'll explain. I'm sure I get questions about that. So that is the website real quick. Once you click on a vehicle, you can go directly to the dealer, or you can use our system to communicate with the dealer. We have a system called PIPS, which is ability for a consumer to ask dealer questions, negotiate, set up test drives, whatever they want to do, and the dealer never knows who they are. This allows you to shop without giving up personal information, which people really like. Okay, if you go back to the Perez real quick, I'll put up a little bit about our team, and then I have something at the end I want to show you real quick. I'm open for any questions. I think I went through that too fast, but I'm open for any questions. The next, oh yeah, I can do it. This is a little bit about us while I'm answering questions. A few of our team members.
Okay, are you ready for questions?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Open up the floor for questions. Please raise your hand high. Questions? Yes.
Yep.
Sorry
sorry if I missed this, but how do you guarantee that when you walk into the dealership, they'll stick to that price?
Well, okay, so we are basing this on some averages. Today's average today's average interest rate based on 60 months for you, 72 for new, and an average credit rate. You can change that on the website. You can put in if you have bad credit or good credit or something like that, and get to a figure, a close figure. Then once you go to the dealer, you're looking at a range between like $45 below and $50 above. The dealer has the internet price that we get from them every day, so they have to stick with that. The only problems we ever have is if someone goes to a dealer and they have bad credit or poor credit and they didn't identify that at front. Most big dealerships have abilities for people to get people into cars based on those bad credit, poor credit. But we've had issues with a few people not changing that in the system and then going to a small dealership and not getting in the car they want.
Any other questions? Raise your hand up high. Yes.
So in the earlier slide, you talked about the competitor you compare to the most in terms of what you do is TrueCar, but you said that they have a disadvantage because of the way they advertise. That wasn't clear to me why or what they're doing in terms of advertising that make it a disadvantage. Could you clarify that?
Yes, TrueCar's advertising is set up to help consumers find a vehicle that they're looking for, and then they tell the consumer what that vehicle sold for at other dealers. So they use dealers against each other to get the price of a vehicle lowered for the consumer. Now, in a lot of states, including Texas, they are being sued for this advertising campaign because what it does is it breaks broker laws. So for instance, a dealer is considered a broker for the manufacturer. You cannot come in between a broker and a manufacturer to affect the price of something. Like a house, you can't do that for a real estate agent. So what TrueCar does is they say to a consumer that you tell us what car you want, we'll tell you what price that car went for at other locations. And that way they affect the price of the vehicle, which is why dealers, AutoNation is the largest auto dealership group, and they are the first of many to pull off of from TrueCar because of those practices. The other problem that TrueCar has is they want to connect to, in order for them to prove that a sale happens, they want to connect to a dealer's CRM, which is their back-end system that shows where all the leads come from. So if they get leads from AutoTrader or their own website, stuff like that, that shows that, and TrueCar needs to connect to that to be able to prove they had a sale. And dealers don't want to give up that information. Dealers don't want them to see where they're getting their leads, how many cars are selling, that kind of stuff. I created a back-end system that allows me to track a consumer through the process and not have to connect to the dealer's CRM. In order for me to get paid after a sale happens, I have to track the consumers through the process. And that's sort of unique to us, or it is unique to us.
Hi, are there any restrictions on the make or brand of
No.
the car that you're offering? So like Tesla, for example, people in Texas have to order it, have it delivered. Does this make it easier?
Well, I wouldn't say that when we talk to Tesla dealers, and we've yet to have one to join because they do their business a little bit differently, it's direct. But I think our most expensive, we sell a lot of cars in between like 18,000 and 12,000 range, right? If you're budget conscious, which most Americans are, we all have a budget in mind when we're looking for a car. Some people's budget is $900 a month, most people's is $300 a month, right? So we have a sweet spot in the market, which is consumers, household consumers, females who control the budget, older adults, young kids who are looking for their first car. And so we sell a lot of those cars in that range. We don't sell a lot of Teslas, although we want them on the website for people to see, because I don't have the website up, but you can also search based on make, model, and mileage. So the traditional way. So if you were looking for a Tesla, you can go put that in. I don't have any on there yet. Some Alfa Romeos, or I have some other high-end cars, but not Tesla yet.
How long have you been around and what's your conversion rate?
We started in 2012 in development. We Beta tested in Springfield, Missouri in 2013. So I've been sort of actively selling dealers since 2013. We started with 25 dealers, now we have 20,000. Our conversion rate as far as people coming to the website that go to the dealership, so it's about 7% conversion rate of how many people who actually come to the website, look around, set up a test drive through our system to go to the dealer, and then they sell about 20% of the people that go to them because they're already within a budget, they know what the budget is. But that conversion rate is a little misleading because you have two options when you come to the website. You can go straight to the dealer's website, go right to their VDP page of that vehicle, and you don't have to register with us. You don't have to use our system. The only system we track are the people who actually say, I want to talk to the dealer, I want to set up a test drive through your system. And that's the 7%. So we get clicks every day. If you go to the website, people clicking on going straight to dealers. At that point, we don't know if they stay with that dealer, if they buy. We don't really care right now. What we care for is the people who use our system to go through and find their next vehicle. We're willing to give up those free leads to the dealers now in order to get the dealers on because they like that. But eventually the system will sort of morph into, if you want to use our system, you have to do certain things. But right now, it's all about dealer partnerships, which is all about getting value to the dealer. So the long-term goal is, I have every auto dealer on the website. I have individual auto sales on the website. So when you're looking for a vehicle, you can search through other people, but I have all those vehicles plus more, and that's where I'll be able to compete on a national level in my marketing. Yes, ma'am? Oh, sorry.
Have you thought about offering any other types of functionality to dealers on the back end? For example, used car dealers, if the product doesn't move, they send the car on auction. Is that about having it where dealers can talk to other dealers? And
Yes. We have a back-end system for dealers that does a lot of things. It allows a dealer to communicate to you. If you're a person on the website, they can send you notes, little like sale events and stuff like that. They can also see inventory, not see everybody's inventory, but communicate with other dealers on the back-end system to have cars move. We have what's called an inventory management. The auto dealers have inventory management companies which take their inventory and pushes it to the web. We have an inventory management company as well that can do that for the small dealers, and they have the ability to use our system then to trade vehicles back and forth and stuff like that.
I know that you're all about providing value to the dealer. Does that make for difficulties in scale? Does that mean like when you go into a new market, you need to find all those dealers and get all that inventory onto your site? And then also, based on your, I don't know what you call it, resume, chronology, are you still doing Make Easy marketing, or is that now morphed into Easy Auto entirely?
My marketing, Make It Easy marketing buys advertising for Make It Easy Autos. And then I also, when I left EV Station, I was working there, I took some clients with me, so I do have some marketing stuff on the side. But most of our marketing is for ourselves, where we buy in other markets. The first part of that question was yes. When I go to, I've been here for a couple of weeks, today's my last day, I'm trying to get about 45 dealers on in this area to start marketing in order for me to have enough inventory for people to search. So I'm looking at hiring. One of the things when they ask me what I need in the communities, I'm looking at hiring sales staff locally because Texas is a huge auto market. And then that'll give me the ability to sign up dealers, year-round here locally.
how are you going to convert these free leads? These free leads you're providing to the auto dealers, how are you going to convert that, monetize that later on? Change that with them staying on board with you?
Okay. Most people don't like giving up information, and they don't trust auto dealers with the information. Because as soon as you give up information to Auto Trader, Cars.com, 10 dealers call you and say, hey, I'm looking to sell your car. So I'm walking a fine line. Right now, I'm giving a service to the consumer to say, if you want protection, this is if I can do that. And I'm giving a service to the dealer saying, we are a dealer-friendly website. We're what's called a dealer-driven website. So what our intent is to say, we have all the dealers, so consumers need to use us, as opposed to a auto trader saying, we have all the consumers, dealers, you need to be on us. So our intent is to eventually, through our marketing, through trust, so when we start proving to people in new areas especially, that we don't send information to dealers, that we don't give up their information, that when they put in their information, they know it's protected and they have all these cool things they can do, that we slowly turn people to say, when they come to the website, they're not afraid to put in their information. If you ever use Craigslist, for instance, if you want to communicate with someone on Craigslist, you can protect your email by sending them a coded email, and they don't know who you are, they just get your information. That's kind of what we do, and so now people trust Craigslist to just put in their email, put in their information, talk to people about certain things. So eventually the system turns where our branding and our trust value goes up, and we can start converting those. We lost a lot of consumers at the beginning when we started marketing because we required them to register with us in order to go to the next step, which is see the dealer. And we lost them. They kicked off that page a lot because they didn't want to do that. They didn't know us, they didn't trust us. So we sort of reversed our field on that. So for the time being, for the next couple of years, we're able to send free leads to the dealers, and that's good for our partnership with the dealers. But eventually we'll sort of switch that to where if you want to use our system, you need to tell us who you are, and then we'll let you go to the dealers.
Can you not use tags or find some other way to track it?
We use all kinds of ways to track. We know if you click on go straight to a dealer, but we don't know who you are. I mean, maybe your URL or something like that, your unique URL. But we don't know what you do when you get to that dealer, all that kind of stuff. Until we know who you are, we can't really monetize that part of it. My revenue stream right now is, 70% dealer sign up. There's a one-time sign up fee for a dealer to join, and then after that, they don't pay until I sell a car for them. So I have enough dealers in the next 10 years to sign up that I'm not too worried about making money off of the car sales until I get enough dealers on and I can prove myself, if that makes sense. Yes, sir.
Will you share the level of revenue that you've generated thus far, please?
Well, I guess, kind of roughly. Our first year we kicked off with 25 dealers. And we actually got a seed round when we first started of $150,000, which allowed us to build the system, test it, market it, that kind of stuff. And then we sort of took what we learned from that and we went on. This last year we were at $100,000 revenue from dealer signups. But we don't spend a lot of money on advertising. We're not a big advertiser yet. We have to build into that. It's expensive, of course, in St. Louis, Kansas City, areas like that to buy advertising. So we do a lot of retargeting, remarketing online, stuff like that. And we give a dealer, when a dealer joins, we give them 2 years of free service. And that gives me time to build up my marketing, build up my leads, build up my sales over the 2 years of their contract. So I'm not making as much money now as I should because the hardest part about my job is getting to the dealer, the decision maker at the dealership. They're the hardest people to call on because they get called on by everybody, and they set a lot of roadblocks to keep us out. But once I get to them, I convert about 80% of them the time when I meet them. So the hard part is getting to them. So if I have a lot of value I'm bringing on the front end, it gives me a better chance to get them on, which is what I need. I lost people for 2 reasons, because I needed them to register when we first started, and I didn't have a lot of dealers. I didn't have a lot of inventory. So my change is to get as much inventory, give as much dealers as much as I can, and then start, growing my revenue more and more.
How are you marketing to people? Because I've searched cars in the Google before, and I've never seen easy to buy.
Make it easy autos. Yeah, we're not here. We're just started here in this area. Went up in Missouri and where we are, you will see us a lot more. Most of our advertising is just branding, TV branding, enough to get people to know why we're different than other people and use the site. But we still have a lot of, we're fairly new. We're babies in this industry. Give you an example, TrueCar was a year and a half ago, got $350 million in investments out in California to be able to buy marketing nationally. So that's sort of our future. Eventually we're going to have to get to a point where we're huge like that to be able to be on the Google searches up high and stuff like that. Right. Beat up, yeah. So AutoTrader, Cars.com, and now TrueCar is becoming sort of the big 3 in the area. And so we have stiff competition, but we have some unique values to get us, we don't exactly have to beat them, but we have a way to get up into the game until we get the bigger national investment later, years from now, to be able to beat them.
They probably spent a lot of money to stay at the top from an SEO perspective.
Yes.
Back here.
What's your cost of acquisition per customer, and if you hired a salesperson, how much money could they expect to make in the first year?
Our cost for the first part, was that again, the cost?
Cost of acquisition of a client?
It's averaging about $4, which means the person that comes to the website uses our system to go to a dealer and then buy the car where we get paid. We're averaging about $4 for that person. We in our spreadsheet, in our pro forma, we show how we can get that number down to $1 and $2, or lower. But right now we're averaging at that. We're not as efficient with our advertising because we can't buy it as well as, we're not big enough, that type of stuff. And the other thing is the salesperson. Part of my desire to get a small investor is to be able to pay. The hard part about hiring people is they don't want to work just off commission, which all the people I have up in Missouri are doing commission work. Sales, phone work on the phone, or meeting with dealers are straight commission. I pay $300 for every time a dealer signs up for commission. But I'm looking at trying to hire in these areas a salary and commission. And I have salespeople up there making, $60,000, $70,000 a year, which up there is really big. I mean, it's good, and they have potential to grow with better they get on the phone, and the more dealers we get in an area. It's like a snowball where you build it up and you push it off the hill and it starts getting bigger and bigger. The more we do that in Dallas, the more dealers we get on, the easier it is to get to the next one, and it starts building on itself.
You mentioned your unique messaging and marketing as it relates to Auto Trader and Cars.com. What's the simplest way you can tell a consumer how you're different from those platforms?
You have the ability to search for a vehicle based on your budget. So you don't have to, that's the simplest way to do it. So if you have a budget in mind, like my next car is going to be this, has to be this to fit my budget, we make it easy for you to find that car within seconds. Instead of going to a website, looking through cars, clicking on one and then saying, oh crap, that's too expensive. Let me go to the next one. Oh, that doesn't really, we give you the ability to quickly find a vehicle based on your budget. Eventually, my marketing will be, we give you the ability to find a vehicle based on your budget, and we have more vehicles than any other auto website. Yes, sir.
My question is, most of your consumers, you go after the ones who are looking at payment, I guess, but you have to be able to know what the finance rates are for all these different states, cities, credit unions that they might use at the dealership. And the main thing is, I think not bars, but people who are buying like me don't want to get inundated by a salesperson. And what's the difference from you, from Cars.com? You're still going to get the dealer with some commission sales guy calling in and bugging them to come.
Well, you're not. That's part of our system is you can get on the website and you can ask the dealer questions. You can do all the stuff that you want to do with the dealer, and they don't know who you are. So that's a protection that we provide for people, so salespeople aren't calling you. What AutoTraderCars.com do is they get you to give them information, and then they sell it to the multiple dealers who then call you. What we do is we say, use our system. Our back-end system allows you to communicate with dealers, so you don't get hassled by the dealers that do that type of thing. That was the second part of it. I can't remember the first part.
Yeah, the payment you're coming up.
Okay, how we figure the payment? It's a very broad number at first. It's a national average for interest rate of today. We get that feed every day. Locally, I mean, in the different areas we've been, we haven't had any issues with special finances. If Chevy dealers nationally have a 0% financing, that is on the website by the vehicle, so they can see that at that point. But we work on net averages. Usually a person is within, let's say $50, $75 range when they go there, and then once you go to a dealer, then it's a normal deal. You can negotiate the vehicle, you can do whatever you want to get your price down to where you want it. Imagine this. So when you're a dealer, and someone comes onto your lot and kicks the tires or test drives the car, when they ask you, when they look at the dealer and say, how much is this going to cost me per month, the dealer has almost a 90% chance they're going to sell that car to that person because they can finagle the system to get it. So imagine if you're a dealer and I send you Sally Smith, and Sally Smith told me her budget is $350, and she walks onto your lot. The power you have of helping her get her car based on her budget is great because you already know in advance what it's going to be. So that's sort of how we flip the system on itself to allow not just the consumer to find a vehicle they like, but a dealer to know what I need to do to get Sally Smith into this vehicle that she wants, the price that she wants that vehicle. That's kind of how we work.
So the uniqueness of what you're offering to consumers, though, as I understand the back end of your business model, but that's not something you can patent or.
We believe, and we've started the process. We have three things within our system that a process that is patentable. We believe so. The process that allows us to track a consumer through the buying funnel is sort of a process we believe. The personal information protection system and how it communicates with dealers, we believe, is the way we can do that. We've yet to, we've had, all of trademark and stuff like too, and we have the ability to apply for those three patents in the system. Right now, we're just doing that.
But anyone can start another website to let people search for cars based on their budget, correct?
Yes, if someone wanted, if if AutoTrader wanted to turn around their system and use a different method, they can put a calculator system on there too. But the hard part is getting paid for that. How does someone get paid for that type of service? And that's sort of the process that we have to apply for a patent.
Okay, the final question, what can the community do for you?
The three things that I need the most are if you have connections with auto dealers, know any of them, have any connections. The hardest part of my job is getting to them, and the easiest way to do that is through personal connections. Everywhere I go, I sort of get introduced to auto dealers through 1 Million Cups connections. The other thing is we're looking at presenting to any investors locally about helping us grow in Texas and across the country. And if you know anybody or are interested, I have cards and information over here. And maybe the easiest way locally to find good employees, sales staff, stuff like that, to be able to see what's available in this area and grow our sales staff. Those are the three sort of main things.
Okay, awesome. One more round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for kicking off day 2 of Dallas Startup Week with us. We're here every Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m. And if you'd like to be involved as a sponsor or a presenter, please email us at dallas@1millioncups.com or visit the website 1millioncups.com/Dallas. Go ahead and also give our Facebook page a like, and you can subscribe to our newsletter and our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions about our amazing host and venue, The Deck, please find one of the staff members around. They'll wave their hands right now. And they can provide a free tour of the space, plus any questions you may have. But thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.